In the past, man has been in conflict with his environment. During the Industrial Revolution, productivity meant pollution. But in the last few years, there's been a new awakening. Industry is taking its social and ecological responsibility seriously. The Alcan aluminium smelter at Kurri is no exception. The company is spending millions of dollars on environmental research and practical protection programs. Safeguarding the environment has always been a high priority for Alcan since it established the smelter in 1969. To the casual observer, Kurri is a peaceful country town. But behind the quiet exterior is a developing commercial centre which boasts a population of 13,000. Kurri was founded on coal mining early this century. Coal provided the town with its economic base for many years. But in the 1950s, widespread closures caused severe unemployment. It was in this climate that Alcan considered establishing an aluminium smelter in the Hunter Valley. Former works manager Dennis Kaur was involved in those early days.
We chose the site here at Kurri for a number of reasons. There was available land, abundant power, access to the Newcastle harbour and an adequate workforce.
Since 1969, Alcan has spent many hundreds of millions of dollars in establishing the smelter, while making a high priority to keep up with both the latest process technology and pollution control equipment. When Alcan applied to extend the works, a detailed environmental impact study was commissioned. It made 3 recommendations: install the latest emission control technology, establish a substantial buffer zone around the site, and monitor the environment regularly. To look at how aluminium is produced goes a long way to explaining why these recommendations were made. Smelting is an electrochemical process. Aluminium oxide, or alumina as it's known, is refined from bauxite, which is found in enormous quantities in North Queensland. The alumina is shipped to Newcastle Harbour. At Kurri Island, a modern suction system has been installed to unload the fine powdery alumina. This has virtually eliminated dust problems that once troubled the neighbourhood during periods of high winds. The alumina is then carried to Kurri in enclosed trucks and stored in silos on the site. Smelting takes place in large pots at temperatures around 950 degrees Celsius. The alumina is dissolved in molten cryolite and electrolyzed by passing a large current through the pot. Each pot produces about 1 tonne of aluminium a day. The molten metal is then siphoned off for casting into solid metal of various shapes of ingot. In recent years, technological developments in the smelting process have led to a dramatic drop in the amount of fluoride emitted. At Kurri, the gases produced in the pots are directed to what are known as dry scrubbers. Here, a small amount of alumina is injected into the hot gas stream. The fluorides react with the particles, which are then filtered out and recycled. Hugh McLean is Alcan's Manager of Technical Services.
The scrubbers themselves are very closely monitored in order that they meet the requirements of the Environmental Protection Authority. They were designed by Alcan Engineering Division
and operate at an efficiency of greater than 99%. The aluminium smelting process is rather unique in that the scrubbing medium used to remove the fluoride from the gases is alumina, which is the basic raw material.
The performance of the scrubbers is not taken for granted. Teams of technicians check the quality of gases leaving the huge stacks at Kurri. A probe is placed into the giant ducts to check for impurities. It's tested across the entire diameter of the pipe to give true results. These samples are then tested by the company chemists. Expensive and accurate equipment is used to check fluoride levels in the samples. Tolerances are within 1%. These results are then double-checked by the State Pollution Control Commission. Nothing is left to chance. To help interpret the volumes of data collected, a weather tower records all meteorological conditions. It's a vital part of the total watch the company makes on the ecosystem around the smelter. What about other types of pollution? Well, solid wastes are disposed of within the boundaries of the works. Aluminium smelting does not produce any liquid waste products, but runoff water immediately around the site is directed into dams. This water supply is used for watering gardens and playing fields around the smelter. The lush conditions of the flowers and lawns around the site provide sound evidence that there's no dangerous level of pollutants in the runoff water, even so close to the potline. Humans have a relatively high tolerance to fluoride, but cattle, bees and some forms of plant life are known to be quite sensitive. This sensitivity is harnessed to closely watch the effects of any fluoride emissions. As a part of that research, Alcan purchased an adjoining 1,000-hectare beef property. Wangara, or Wentworth Swamps, as it's sometimes known, now forms a part of the buffer zone recommended by the impact study. It is living proof that a well-managed farm and an aluminium smelter can exist side by side. Catchment methods developed on the property help nearby farmers to confidently operate their farms near the smelter. The property supports an abundance of wildlife, with 60 species of migratory bird and waterfowl identified. The farm is part of the 1,600 hectares of bushland surrounding the smelter. The land was partly purchased by the company when the smelter was built and extended again in 1983 as part of Alcan's continuing environmental protection program. The buffer zone, as it's actually called, absorbs most of the traces of fluoride which may still be left in the emissions. It is a valuable area for monitoring pollution levels. Cattle within a 10-kilometre radius of the works are surveyed by a consultant veterinarian. 1 dairy and 4 beef farms are checked and compared with a reference herd based at Tokel Agricultural College, about 20 kilometres away. The teeth of the cattle are checked for fluorosis, or weakening of teeth and bones from excess fluoride. Special cameras are used to photograph the teeth and record the results. Tailbone samples are also analysed, with the results checked by the State Pollution Control Commission. Results show that only young cattle grazing very close to the smelter are susceptible. A unique feature of the original monitoring program was the company's beehives. Established in 1981, they played an important part in checking fluoride levels. 2 beehives were located 700 metres and 1,000 metres from the smelter, with a 3rd control hive 12 kilometres away. The hives were checked on a regular basis by beekeeper Dick Webber. Beeswax, larvae and honey were all analysed for fluoride. The smelter hives produced honey equal to that from the control hive, showing that smelter emissions have no significant effect on sensitive bee mortality, colony performance or honey production. Alcan also takes every possible step to ensure that the hunters' fine vineyards are not affected. Samples are taken from vines and native vegetation, with special emphasis on the wine-growing areas. The vineyards and the smelter have lived side by side for over 20 years. In that time, the Hunter region has consistently maintained its quality and is highly regarded in both the domestic and international marketplace. When the smelter was first built, master winemaker Murray Tyrrell led a group of concerned vignerons in demanding the proper safeguards.
Since the inquiry, they've gone out of their way to help us. They've set up a very good laboratory, I believe, and in Kurri. They provide the figures of hydrogen fluoride. They do the testing. They assist the industry in doing that, and all these figures are made available, and that's a tremendous help, and we feel confident we're working with a very reputable company.
And of course, the health of those who work at the smelter is not forgotten. A comprehensive employee health program is established at Kurri. The plant has its own medical centre and industrial hygiene officer. Both the health and safety of employees is an ongoing company concern. This is best illustrated in the monitoring of noise in the workplace. Here in the bundling station, the regular noise of metal hitting metal is checked with special sound measuring equipment. Employees all wear ear protection. A close watch on noise levels and employee health is maintained. Alcan at Kurri provides jobs, produces vital aluminium and wealth for the district. Alcan's environmental protection policy is being put into effective practice in the Hunter Valley. Millions of dollars have been spent in establishing a buffer zone. The latest pollution control equipment is installed and its effectiveness is checked rigorously. Productivity no longer means pollution. The aluminium industry is continuing to show that it can coexist in harmony with man and the natural beauty around him.